Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Natasha Bray. I'm a success mastery coach for women who want to unlock their ultimate up level. And I'm here today with the amazing Zoe Hawkins. Zoe is a transformational coach and a coach trainer, so she's got multiple strings to her bow. And I'm just going to hand you over to Zoe now to tell you a little bit more about her and what she does.
Thanks, Natasha. So I'm Zoe. I've been a coach for about 10 years. I've worked with my business partner, Joe, and together we formed our company In Good Company about 10 years ago, really from our backgrounds in HR, where we had a real passion for helping others to grow and develop. And in 2015, we decided to set up a coaching training business. And that's what we've been doing ever since. So now we are coaches ourselves, working mainly with corporate leaders, but also with some private clients. We obviously train people to be coaches. We supervise coaches, and I think we describe ourselves really as all-round coaching nerds. So just love the industry, and have a real passion for like quality and ethics and doing it well. So yes, that's a bit about me.
You met in corporate, and then that's how you formed that company together?
No, do you know what? We actually met when we were studying for our masters. So we both did a master's in personnel and development, and it was a really strange meeting. So I walked into the room. She was sat in the corner. I did a quick scan of the room. I was late. I'm late for everything. Quick scan of the room, and she sat there in the corner. And I was like, I know that girl. Hadn't met her from ever before, but you're spending time in your spiritual circles. It was that sense of my soul knows her soul, and we just formed a friendship. We had a lot in common, heartbreak and all that stuff at that stage of our lives. And yeah, still going strong, I don't know, 20 odd years later. So
Amazing. I actually met my business bestie the same way at a training event. And we were on the same table, and initially I thought, I don't think I'm going to get on with that girl. If she's watching, sorry. But we actually got on really well, and yeah, business besties, and we've got
yeah,
partnership plans and things as well. So it's funny how these connections show up, isn't it?
definitely. And it's just nice not to do it alone. I think, to have those connections. I think, business is a journey, isn't it? Ours has definitely been up and down. So it's nice to have a partnership and share the highs, share the lows. So
Yeah, definitely. No one quite understands business unless they're in it as well,
yeah.
really. So thank you for sharing that. First of all, Zoe is or has completed the academy, or you're just about.
I'm finishing up. We're on Lead with Love, aren't we? So yeah, finishing up that one.
Yes, you've got a couple of weeks left, and that is the end of a 6-month journey together in the academy. What made you decide to sign up to it in the first place? What attracted you about it?
The one thing that attracted me was, I think is your next one, was innovation. And what do you call it? Innovation and
Intuition and innovation.
Intuition and innovation. That's it. And I think we connected originally in another person's group. And then I started seeing your Instagram posts pop up everywhere. And I'd been watching your journey, I suppose, from afar for a couple of years. And I know you work with a lot of women who've experienced quite significant trauma, and that's not my story. And then when I saw you launch the academy, and I'd seen the results that you were getting and just how interesting the work looked, and I guess because I'm really interested in coaching stuff, I was fascinated by the results that you're getting, the techniques that you use, the approach, the psychology behind it. And I think I might have messaged you and said, I don't really have a big trauma story, but I know there's always stuff. There's always layers to heal and unveil and growth that you can have. So for me, I was just at a phase where I was enjoying my work. Things are going really well, but I just wanted an experience to help me grow and develop further. And that's where I came to the academy from. And it was that module, intuition and innovation, that I felt weirdly intuitive about joining. So that's what made me sign up.
Brill. And so you signed up to Intuition and Innovation. which is the first of 4 different parts of the academy. And how soon would you say you started seeing results?
The first week I think is always a really powerful week. And I remember going through the activities, and this particular module focuses around self-trust and betrayal. And it's not an angle I'd ever really looked at my development through before, in terms of like, actually, what has my relationship with betrayal been, and to what extent do I trust myself? And I had some quite significant revelations in the first week, which is where you call it the unveiling, don't you, where you sort of learn more about yourself. So instantly I could see that there were layers there to learn about, and things to heal. And I think it just builded from there. And for me, that particular module was it was about developing that self-trust, and and that leads, I think, to self-belief. And I'd say I've always had a fairly strong sense of self-belief, but this just took it to a whole new level, just to a level of real confidence and faith and trust, not just in myself, but how things would work out. I've been known, I suppose, to be like a real thinker, an overthinker. So to be able to, if I'm trying to do something, I'm like, right, have I done this? Have I done this? Have I done this? And it's kind of counterintuitive because I'm not much of a planner. And I think this particular module really helped me to almost just come back to myself and the way that I like to work and the way that I like to do things. And I was just in a better energy with the way that I approach stuff. And from that, that's led to some good business success as well. So
you mentioned a couple of important points there, actually. So what it sounds like happened was we all pick up things that we think we should do in business. Like we should plan in advance, we should schedule our whole year and all of our content, and there is some benefit to that, of course, but not everybody works well in that way. I am not one of those people. So it sounds like you started to have a more organic approach, would you say?
Yeah, it's just really refreshing for me. So I've done a number of different kind of business related programs, and there's an awful lot of planning and strategy and pre-scheduling all this content. And I think I tried to do all those things, right? I tried to do, like, I had a spreadsheet with posts in, and then I'd had a theme for each week, and then scheduling when those posts should go out and putting them in like Plannerly and all this stuff. And it just didn't work. It just didn't work for me. Not so much on the engagement side, but it just felt a little bit forced. And I think your approach for me was just like a breath of fresh air. It was almost just like the permission to like put it all down and decide what was useful. And so, yes, I've got a strategy, but I now tend to work in quarters with like an eye on the year, a rough eye on the year. There's space to do spontaneous things. I do have a view of what I want to be kind of posting about and what I want to be talking about related to things that I'm working on, but definitely more organic, much more a relaxed approach to it. And it feels, and I know you do a lot of energy work, but I feel aligned to the way that I'm working, whereas before it just felt forced. And I think that comes through then in the messaging and the way that I suppose I talk in my posts and things like that.
Yeah. Wow. And you also mentioned how you originally thought, oh, this might not be for me because I haven't got that big or what we call big trauma in my background.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to pick that up as an important point as well, because everyone has been through what we call wounding. So we've all experienced something in our life that's made us not trust ourselves, or not feel good enough, or not feel worthy in some way, or feel not safe or helpless or powerless. Like there's one of those things that at least one person will always resonate of having felt that way. And I think that's an important point to make for anyone watching as well, who's thinking, I haven't been through, big childhood abuse, or it's any form of wounding, essentially. And we've all got wounds because it's just part of being a human and life experiences. So this work can help anyone, whether you've been big trauma or little wounds. I tend to use the word wounding because people feel a bit less scared of the word wound than trauma. Trauma can be quite a scary word. So I wanted to pick up on that as well as an important point. Um, and so what I'm sensing is, from very early on in the academy, you started to just develop more trust in doing things your way and, not as structured. A mix of structure and organic is always a good approach to business. And you also mentioned you started to see some business results from that. Can you share a little more on that?
Yeah, so I'd say the business results is an accumulation of lots of things. So also the authentic visibility module helped. So did intuition, loved it so much. I decided, sod it, I'll just sign up for the rest of it. I had a bit of FOMO at that point, watching all these amazing women inside your group. And I didn't want to leave. So I was like, fine, I'll just join the whole thing. And the next one I think was authentic visibility. And that built from the work we'd just done there into really helping me find my voice. And so the challenge I used to have, I think, with social media and marketing is I would distill my message so much that I think it didn't land as authentically or in such a powerful way. So authentic visibility added this next layer, and I don't know exactly what it was or what the specific learning was, but I came away from that just feeling much more connected to my story, the way that I want to speak, and worrying less about what people would think. And I can actually remember myself putting some posts out. This is after I'd done the transformational work, I think, which is around kind of week 2, noticing I would have never had posted that like just a number of weeks before. And like I said, I can't tell you exactly what shifted because a lot of the work is unconscious, but something had shifted, something had lifted to give me space to just be myself and just feel, happy and confident in doing that. So I think there's those two things. And obviously I've been working on business for a number of years. And so coming out now, so at the end of the academy, we've just finished our first 6-figure launch, which definitely, if you told me this a year ago, I would never have believed it possible. And I think the most exciting thing about the launch isn't so much the numbers, just how it felt. So that I had no stress. I wasn't even really focused on the numbers. I was just focused on putting content out, enjoying it, speaking to people, connecting with prospective clients. And it was just a really easy energy about that launch. And it wasn't until we closed the doors and I ran the numbers to share a group that I'm part of that I realized we'd had a 6-figure launch. Whereas I know if this was a year ago, I'd have been looking at those numbers every single day, worrying that we weren't getting close enough to them. So we didn't actually hit the sales that we'd aimed to hit. We set ourselves a really stretched goal, but it's 100% growth on what we had the previous time we did it. And, and just to be able to enjoy the process of that and it be relaxed and fun and enjoyable is just a brilliant way to do business. Like that's what it's about, isn't it? So
Definitely. And it sounds like, you just showed up and served, you served for your launch and just, it's almost like letting go of control because that's what we like, like I really want this to happen. So we like control it very tightly. It affects our energy and how we're showing up, especially. So it's like all the work was compounding on each other.
Yeah, it's being able to do it without just noise getting in the way. And I call noise just like, feeling bad about something, overthinking something, thinking too hard about, oh, what should I post now? What shouldn't I post now? Like everything just flowed. And I think that's where some of the self-trust comes from, is I just had a real strong faith that it would all just work out, right? It would happen. And also, I think, confidence that if it didn't, it'd also be fine, because then I'd just learn from it and do something again. So yeah, a really great place to do business from.
I love that. And congratulations on your major milestone.
Yeah,
So
thanks. I said to my business partner yesterday, I'm going to buy something to commemorate like the first six-figure launch, which I genuinely wouldn't have believed was possible before. So yeah,
you
it's
decide what
exciting.
you buy.
Don't know. Need to think about that one. Mm.
Get used to it because it's the first of many.
Yeah, do you know,
Not
it does feel strange, doesn't it? No, I do know there'll be more to come, which is also a nice place to be in, because you just keep doing all the things, but do the inner work. And I think I've always known that. I've always done the inner work. And I think what I just loved about the academy was just a perfect opportunity to go into something without a problem to fix, but to enjoy the experience of learning and growing anyway. So I think that's what I would say to people in a similar position to me is, you don't have to have a problem to go and invest in yourself, right? Because it's just a great way to go in and learn and find out what is there that you're not even aware of yet. So
definitely, and I kind of relate that a bit to like going from good to great. You don't
yeah.
always have to go from like the pain. A lot of marketing's pain point
Mm.
focus. It's just that desire to improve yourself, even though you don't feel like there's necessarily anything that wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you are someone who's done a lot of personal development work. Um, what do you think was different about the academy?
I think a couple of things. I suppose because I train coaches, I can see the pseudoscience that sits behind it. Like it's a really well put together program that is based in I can see your experience coming through, I can see all your kind of teachings coming through, and it's really, I don't know what the right word is. It's really good. Like your content is really good. And I think what I didn't really realize when I was going into it is the spiritual nature of it as well that is there. And um and that took me by surprise, but in a really nice way. So to have, well, one, you've got loads of spiritual people in that group, which creates just a beautiful community of impressive and inspiring women. But for me, it opened my eyes to like part of my work that I hadn't really tapped into. So, there is a spiritual element to intuition. And whilst I used my intuition in my work, I think it's given me almost like another tool for my work as well. So being able to notice what intuition actually is and to lean into that more. So I think that was different. And I think on a lot of programs, you get a slice of things. So like you might go and do some hypnosis work and you get hypnosis, or you might go and do some business development work and you get business development, or you might go and get some coaching around your mindset, whereas you've kind of managed to cram it all in there. so you get a little bit of everything. And I just, I'm a real sucker for learning. Like I love learning, and it's really nice to to come into the community that you've created. And it's not just about the content you've put together, but it's also the community of people that are in there as well, because it is inspiring. And people are forming real relationships in that group, which is really nice to see.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think, yeah, the spiritual side, I've come out more woo as I was even writing that course, week by week, as I was writing it, these activations started channeling through me, and I was like, I've never done anything like this before. I was a little bit scared of putting it in there, but I just thought, no, I'm gonna have to go with it. It's like it's coming up as I'm writing it, it needs to go in. And I remember how nervous I felt when I did the first one of those, but it was really well received, actually, considering they were only short as well. They were quite powerful. But the ultimate up level is up leveling emotionally, financially, and spiritually. So it's not like overly spiritual, but there is a spiritual element.
I think I see it there as, it's like a pick and mix, isn't it? Like it's there if you want it. It's not there, it's not thrust down your neck, like, because you're going to if people come and they aren't particularly spiritual, it's not too much. Like it's more there in the back. It's kind of like the software program that runs in the background, and it's up to you if you do anything with it. And it's something that I will be doing more with. I don't know where that side of it is going to take me yet, but it's definitely awakened something in me that I'm interested in exploring further. So good course bonus.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, lots of people had quite, big spiritual realizations and awakenings that were happening, especially in intuition and innovation. But actually, the more you heal your wounds, the closer to wholeness you become, and the closer to your spiritual self you also become. And actually, that has served me so well in business. The more I've healed, the more I've tapped into that intuition and spiritual side. And that guides my whole business. And, I truly believe that has contributed to the success that I've achieved in quite a short space of time. So.
Yeah, I think there is something around, it's the unlearning for me, so intuition is something I think I've always had, yet you learn to not listen to your intuition sometimes because of things that you're told or experiences that you have. So it's, for me, the up level has really been about coming back to self and noticing actually what works for me and what decisions do I want to make and how do I want to be, and using all of the experience that I had, of course, to inform that. But I think when you can come from a place of true authenticity, people just hear it and connect with it. And I think that's probably been the biggest shift in the way that I show up online and in my business. That's been a source of our growth as well. So yeah, it's been great.
Thank you for sharing all of that. And if anyone's watching this thinking, this sounds good, I want some of this in my business too, what would be the thing that you would say to them?
Just do it. Like it's, I think with any self-development, it's an investment. It's not about the cost. I don't think it's ever about cost. Every single thing I've ever invested in for my own development has just paid for itself. So many times over, I've lost count. Like I remember investing in my coaching training at the very start of my career, which for me back then felt like a lot of money. I think it was like £3,000 or something. I remember thinking, oh my God, like I'm going to spend £3,000 on myself. And I can't even compute the investment that's given, the return on investment that's given me. So I would say, don't think about it as cost, think about it as value, and just do it. I think really just do it and go and enjoy it and get the most from it.
Fabulous. And it's true, it's like I truly believe that the kind of shifts that you get in that academy, they're just price that you can't put a price on it.
No.
Probably because it's so funny how fast people's businesses grow when they do this work, because not a lot of it is business strategy or business focus. That's almost like the side order with the main meal.
Yeah.
So it's so funny how so much of the focus is on that inner work, and I think people don't expect that.
But I think it's like the business stuff is available, isn't it? Like there's so much out there in terms of how to run a business. I mean, it took me years to learn how to run a business, but even when you're taught how to run a business, you still have to go and implement it and do it. So everyone knows you need to do video to grow your business and show up online, but just doing video, like that's not easy. I can relate to cold sweats when I put my first video out on LinkedIn, so being able to do video isn't the thing. It's being able to do it authentically and be yourself and be relaxed and enjoy it, and then put it out there and not worry about what people think. Like that doesn't come from knowing how to do video. That comes from inside. So yeah, the inner work is, I think it's the biggest piece to growing a business.
I think it's probably the missing piece for a lot of people, because you don't realize that initially. You do think, right, I got to learn about business, got to learn all the strategies and how to do this and how to do that. And I think, one of the things I've tried to create is more awareness that this is actually what you need alongside that to help your business to dramatically grow.
Yeah.
But I think because it's the business stuff is there, but it's not the main focus, the inner work's the main focus. You see those results in every area, not just in your business.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. And I know for me, like when business is going well and life's going well, it's the sweet spot, you know. It's and also if business isn't going well, the confidence to know that you've got what you need to be able to work out, okay, so where's it going wrong, without being flawed about it being a failure or whatever else. So yeah, it all comes together. So
Well, thank you so much for sharing a little bit about your experience in the academy. For anyone watching who wants to learn more about you and your coach training, where can they find out more about you?
yeah, so 2 places. So we've got our website for our company, which is www.igcompany.co.uk. And we also have a Facebook group for aspiring coaches and new coaches and experienced coaches, just a community where we are focused on our expertise, our skills growth, and you can find that on Facebook. It's called The Coaching Crowd. So can you join us there?
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Natasha.
You're welcome. For anyone who is watching who is potentially interested in the Ultimate Uplevel Academy, we're just about to open the doors again at the end of this month, and we are beginning exactly where Zoe began, with intuition and innovation. So if this calls to you, just reach out and send me a message and I'll give you all the details. Okay, thanks. Bye for now.